Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody, nice is putting it lightly, to have somebody like Debra as our governor, which is why we have early on endorsed her. But it is, Debra, a long haul to this vote, which I guess will be in, November of 2010? I mean, this has to start now. All the pieces have to start coming together right now.
They do. We will have a big hurdle in March of 2010. We have to get through the Republican primary. I'll be running on the Republican ticket. Lots of distance between Republican leadership and the Republican platform and beliefs and ideology. But I'll be a candidate on that Republican ticket, and we've got several others who have announced for that same race. So March 2010 is the first big hurdle for us, and winning a majority there, then we will be off and determining in November of 2010 the next governor of the state of Texas.
So Bailey Hutchison is the behemoth, even the chosen one. It almost seems as if this has been cleared for her to get the nomination for the Republican Party. Tell us how you're going to take her on.
Well, again, I think the question in our mind has to be what's the fruit of their life. And Kay has provided some service to Texas. She's long been in the political establishment and served as an elected official, but she clearly is about Washington and interests that don't necessarily resonate with the rank-and-file Texan who's out here working hard to put dinner on the table and pay the light bill and put gas in the car. We have folks who are overrepresenting the big government interests, and I think most of us don't see a U.S. senator who's been living and breathing Washington coming back to Texas as being really good for Texas. Big government interests being represented right in Austin is not something that we're looking forward to. You pointed out she voted for the bailout back in October. It seems, we just blow about with the winds of political change. We have a Republican in the White House. He wants the bailout, so that must be a good thing. We put a Democrat in the White House. He wants the bailout. Oh, that must be a bad thing because now it's the Democrat asking for it. It's the same thing.
But you know what? I'm kind of seeing this scenario playing out, Debra. If we get you to those primaries, wouldn't Perry and Hutchison duke it out, kind of leaving themselves bloodied and scarred and kind of paving the way for your nomination?
There's certainly a number of strategists out there who would tell you that that's exactly the case. I also have to believe that there are a lot of people in Texas, including people who voted independent in the last governor's race, but also including a lot of people who haven't voted, period, because they just haven't had anybody that they felt good about. I hope those people will vote in the Republican primary. I believe that this campaign is going to give them something to cling on to, and we're going to invite them to the dance early. We're not going to wait until November to say, oh, now we need you. We need Hispanics and Black individuals and the Asian community in Texas to get involved in the Republican primary. We've not, as Republicans, done that. And I've been pretty critical of that and have worked to try to bridge those gaps. It is very frustrating to me that the party seems to wait until November to decide that Texas has a pretty diverse population and begin to try to interface with all of that. All of those different populations across the state. There's a tremendous amount of conservative ideology in South Texas, Corpus Christi down to Harlingen, Laredo, McAllen, Hidalgo County, all Cameron County, all that area is just growing by leaps and bounds, and the Republican Party, from a statewide and national perspective, has kind of kept their hands off until it's time for a November race, and then all of a sudden they're interested.
A lot can happen.
The way it is.
Debra, we have a lot of, thanks to the Ron Paul election of 2008, we have a lot of people in the delegate position, in positions of some kind of power within the Republican Party. Is that something that helps you?
Well, I keep reminding folks that the the ball that we need to keep our eye on is advancing liberty. That's the goal here. So the more people we have involved and the more key positions they're involved in who have that as their singular objective, the better off we all are and the more likely we are to maintain the freedoms that our founders intended to bestow upon their posterity. So absolutely having people involved in the Republican Party, and I know there are lots of arguments against that because people have been so frustrated by the corruption within the party and how unfaithful it's been to its own platform. But certainly that's where I have chosen to wage the battle. That's where Ron Paul has chosen to wage the battle, and I think it's a worthy endeavor and one that I'm very committed to. I hope others will continue in that vein.
Yeah, I think infiltrating both the parties or all the parties is really important. Some people have to take that role, so when they're called, they really have to do it. Is it time now? Can people go back in, maybe some of the people that were involved during the Ron Paul Revolution or maybe didn't get involved, they can go now and begin running for precinct chairs and delegate positions even as we speak?
There are a couple of opportunities for people. The primary ones come up at the primary, but in those places where there are vacant precinct chair positions, there is a mechanism in place for the local executive committee to appoint someone to fill that remainder of the term. People that are serving in the capacity of precinct chair right now, their term will run through April of 2010. But in many areas around the state, we either didn't have anybody seek the position back in March of 2008, or the chair has been vacated since then through illness or mobility. People have moved away or something has come up and they've resigned their position. And so most parties, most county party organizations around the state, certainly in the bigger areas, have a number of unfilled precinct chair slots. If you live in a precinct without a chairman and you're willing to serve, then there's a mechanism in place for that executive committee to appoint you to fill that position.